So, I'm in Liberia. Exciting? Exciting.
How was Liberia?
Your rapid test showed negative. With the microscopic test, to confirm if it is actually negative.
Well, it takes 4 coconuts to fill the 1 bottle.
In the last episode, I entered Sierra Leone and visited its capital, Freetown. Then went to jungle searching for elusive pygmy hippo. Before hastily leaving the country due to upcoming elections. Now, I'm at the border with Liberia. But unknown to me, I'm about to face the hardest challenge of entire journey.
Well, and that's officially it. Border with the Sierra Leone and Liberia. Should be nice country and also no elections, so that's always a advantage in West Africa. Hello, morning.
Wanting to avoid the busy main road and the long detour, we are going to the local village to hire a fisherman that will take us across the lagoon.
This is camera.
Camera, yes.
Yes. Yes.
After some discussion, one man agreed to take us across for $5. And 2 hours later we arrived at Robertsport, a small town boasting one of the best beaches on the west coast of Africa.
Africa! Yeah, Liberia! Very nice experience so far.
Although I had visa to Ivory Coast, I missed one for Ghana. The Ghanaian visa is not easy to obtain, as there are only few embassies which are issuing the visa. Therefore, I had to go to the capital Monrovia and try to apply there.
To Monrovia!
Never get that pay. Why? I can't get no
While navigating through the busy streets, making my way to the embassy, I had a chance to observe the lifestyle of people in Monrovia, the city which inadvertently is going to become my home for weeks to come.
So visa for Ghana acquired. Yeah, it was a okay process. It wasn't difficult at all. It's just a lot of documents and yeah, bit stressful. But otherwise, Ghana looking forward. So right now in Monrovia and heading to Ivory Coast.
I can't get no pay.
The moment I get off the motorcycle, I felt that something is wrong. I suddenly felt weak and had a strong headache. Stumbling back home, I had some paracetamol and went directly to the bed. Although I felt very bad at night, in the morning the headache subsided and I started to feel better.
Here we are in Liberia in a place called West Side Market or some kind of waterside market. And it's not as great as we imagine it to be. But yeah, the time when it stopped raining, it would be nice to make some videos.
Unfortunately, the cycle repeated, and in the evening, the weakness returned, this time combined with fever. The strong fever lasted only about an hour, but the temperature was unbearable and I had to use wet towel to keep my head cool. The following morning, I felt better again and decided to visit nearby Elba Hospital to get tested for malaria.
So this one is the rapid test and that's a microscopic one.
This one is microscopic and this is the rapid.
Okay.
Point. Your rapid test showed negative. The microscopic test to confirm if it is actually negative or not.
Okay, so this one shows that the test is negative.
Yeah, no reaction. And then this one shows positive.
Okay.
I was confused. The both tests for malaria were negative, while the symptoms like dizziness and overall weakness were increasing.
Hello from Thomas, the sick man.
Coming back from the hospital, I got rush of fever again, but this time even stronger. My head felt like exploding, and applying wet towel was not helping. Eventually, only after applying ice wrap, the fever subsided. By this point, the things were looking grim. I had nothing for last 3 days and had no appetite. The days passed and the cycle of feeling fine in the morning and getting high fever afternoon continued. My body started to sweat uncontrollably and the skin rash appeared. I felt dizzy and keeping balance while walking was difficult. In addition, my line of thoughts was changing. I started to think negatively, blaming people around me, hurting their feelings. I thought about past, remembering things I forgot long ago. At this point, I started to deeply regret every decision which led me to this place. I was getting weaker and weaker until the point I was unable to open a soda bottle. The malaria test was negative, but while traveling, I could catch any other of the tropical diseases, like dengue fever, freshwater snails, typhoid, and many others. I spent extended time traveling through rainforest and was not particularly careful. Often, I drank from water sources, ate local food, and bathed in water bodies. It has been 5 days since the first symptoms appeared, and the situation started to be critical. My health was not improving, and I was becoming desperate. I was thinking of returning to home, flying back to Europe, but it seemed so distant. Instead, I decided to go back to the hospital to perform more tests. And there I finally received a diagnosis. This time, the test for malaria was positive, showing the highest count of parasites in the blood, 4+. I was prescribed anti-malaria pills and went home with mixed feelings. On one hand, I was concerned about the severity of malaria, but on the other hand, I was glad to know the diagnosis and not to be infected with other disease. After eating the anti-malaria pills, the waves of fever stopped. However, the skin rash and weakness remained. It was shocking to see how in the short period of sickness my muscles has disappeared and the clothes seems one size larger. During the 10 days I stayed in Monrovia, I lost 15 kilograms and felt that all my strength left me. It was the toughest situation I've been through during my journey, but nevertheless I decided to continue. Ironically, the first day of traveling after the sickness, I got to camp among coffins in a chapel. To sit back on a saddle and keep cycling whole day was not easy. I had no energy to film or enjoy traveling. While cycling and progressing towards Ivory Coast, I found that listening to audiobooks kept my thoughts off the hardship.
So right now living in Liberia, close to the border of Ivory Coast, and
How was Liberia?
I don't know, from the perspective of Thomas, malaria not that great, but it could be nicer in different occasions. But people are nice, people are nice.
Yeah. People are nice.
The highlight of the travel was passing a couple of remote villages and to see the local products like groundnut or cacao. The cacao production is one of the main sources of income for many in West and Central Africa. Also, the locally made fried pastries were amazing.
Je suis désolée, mais aujourd'hui il y aurait
Yeah, so here in Ivory Coast, but after the malaria and also the experience in Liberia, Sierra Leone wasn't bad, but it's just very tiring. Man!
From the hilly region of Man, we continue to the capital of Ivory Coast, Yamoussoukro, and the monumental structure of Basilica Notre-Dame de la Paix.
Well, that's a basilica in Yamoussoukro in Ivory Coast.
From Yamoussoukro, we continue to the biggest and most developed city in Ivory Coast, Abidjan, and from there towards the small border with Ghana. But before, in Abidjan, I suffered yet another lesser malaria, but after 3 days medication, I started to feel generally much better, making the end to my month-long lasting feebleness, serving as an example to how important it is to make sure the parasite is completely out of the body. It has been 5 weeks since I suffered malaria, and now I'm slowly starting to feel better. Malaria is a nasty disease. Its initial symptoms can be disguised for some other problem, like sunstroke or tooth pain, and it also attacks body in its weakest state. And unfortunately the tests are often not reliable.
So, heading to the border with Ghana and to Ivory Coast, and this is kind of the off-road. There should be a small border post, and yeah, it's more fun to ride in the nature.
Nevertheless, it is essential to always carry anti-malaria medicine and to start the treatment as soon as possible, before it has chance to multiply. During the course of my travels in Africa, I caught malaria 4 times, but the 2 I caught in rainforest were the worst. One quick self-test which worked for me was when feeling sick, I drank an energy drink, and if I start to feel significantly better for a short period of time, I likely had malaria.